Okay, so let's unpack this idea. Does nature have its own, like, universal camera? Something that's constantly recording absolutely everything that ever happened. I mean, imagine that. If every single event, every tiny fleeting moment left some kind of permanent mark on the cosmos. That's the pretty mind-bending question we're diving into today.
Yeah, it is mind-bending. And look, while there isn't, a literal camera floating out there snapping pictures, this whole question, it really pushes us into some incredibly deep areas. We're talking physics, philosophy, quantum theory, for sure, thermodynamics, even sort of metaphysical ways of looking at reality itself. So our mission today really is to explore these powerful scientific theories, the ones that suggest information about everything is somehow preserved, almost like a recording.
Okay, preserved. So if there is some kind of universal record keeping going on, what's the basic principle behind it?
Well, at its heart, it's this thing called the law of conservation of information, and it's absolutely fundamental in physics, especially within quantum mechanics.
Conservation of information.
Right. It basically says that information about a system's past states, well, it's never truly lost, even when things change or transform. Think of it. Maybe like a super meticulous cosmic accountant. Nothing ever actually gets, deleted from the books.
Huh. Never truly lost. That's a pretty strong statement, isn't it? Can you maybe give us an analogy? How does information stick around even when things seem to change completely?
Sure. So take the wave function of a quantum system. You can think of that as like a mathematical blueprint.
Okay.
It describes all the possible states a particle or a whole system could be in. And this wave function, it holds all the information about the system's current state.
Okay.
And here's the fascinating part. It evolves in a way that's predictable and, crucially, reversible. Physicists call this unitary evolution, which means, in theory at least, you can always trace it backward.
So wait, if every past moment is kind of recorded in this wave function, does that mean our usual feeling of time, that it just flows forward and the past is gone? Is that wrong?
Fundamental. Well, from a purely physical standpoint, yes, it kind of implies that. If you had perfect knowledge and impossible tools, you could theoretically rewind that wave function. You could see the past. Oh. Just like rewinding a recording, exactly. So yeah, it suggests our subjective experience of time vanishing. That's maybe quite different from the objective physical reality where the information about those moments, it sticks around.
This whole idea, though, information always being conserved, always there to rewind. It almost sounds too neat, doesn't it? Like the universe is just this perfect, infallible record keeper. But then there was this huge cosmic spanner in the works, something that threatened to just rip this whole principle apart. I'm talking about black holes.
Right.
The ultimate enigma. When something falls into one, does its information just vanish forever? Here's where it gets really interesting.
Right. And that was the massive puzzle. Stephen Hawking, initially, he actually proposed that, yes, it does disappear. Yeah. Which would mean nature, in a sense, forgets. And like you said, it's almost unthinkable in quantum mechanics.
A huge conflict, then, between quantum theory and general relativity.
A colossal conflict, yeah. Our two best theories of the universe fundamentally disagreeing. If information could truly be lost in a black hole, it'd be like hitting the universe's ultimate delete button.
I gather that view didn't stick. It evolved.
It absolutely did. Later theories, and this includes Hawking's own revised view later in his life, they suggest that somehow black holes actually encode that information, and then they release it back into the universe. Possibly through something called Hawking radiation. It's this very faint thermal radiation that black holes are predicted to emit. It's incredibly subtle, but the idea is the information is scrambled up in it. So if you connect this back to the bigger picture, it means the universe isn't just passively preserving old records, it's actively transforming information.
Okay, so like a giant information processor.
Exactly. A huge, incredibly complex processor. Nothing gets lost. It just gets reorganized, reshuffled, like shuffling a deck of all the cards are still there, just, in a different order.
Right. Okay, so if even black holes, these things we think of as cosmic shredders, if they can't actually destroy information, then how is all this information stored? Which I guess leads us to another, maybe even more mind-bending idea about the universe's memory. The holographic principle?
That's the one. Proposed originally by Gerard Hooft, then really developed by Leonard Susskind. The core idea is, it's pretty radical. It suggests that all the information contained inside a volume of space, like, say, this room or the entire universe,
Yeah.
can actually be described fully on its boundary surface. The edge,
Like a hologram.
exactly like a hologram. You know how a 2D holographic plate can store all the information needed to project a 3D image?
Right.
The holographic principle suggests our whole vast 3D universe might work like that. All the data describing everything in here might actually be written on some distant 2D cosmic boundary.
Whoa, okay, that's hard to picture. So it's not just an analogy. The universe is a hologram, potentially.
Well, mathematically, it's a very powerful idea that resolves some deep issues in physics, like the black hole information paradox, actually. It implies that what we perceive as 3 spatial dimensions might be, well, sort of an emergent property, a projection from a lower dimensional reality. Everything you see, feel, experience, maybe it's all encoded on a cosmic flat screen.
Okay, wow. So if we take that perspective, then nature itself really could be seen as a kind of quantum recorder, couldn't it? Not with, lenses and film, but using these fundamental quantum things, like entanglement wave functions.
Precisely, and that's the key. Every single interaction, think about it, every photon of light bouncing off an object, it carries away information about that object, its shape, its color, its position.
Even if we don't see that photon.
Even if we don't detect it, yeah. That information is still out there, so to speak. It's embedded in the quantum field, which raises an important question. Could we theoretically reconstruct past events just by looking at all the scattered light? In principle, maybe yes, if you had, practically infinite sensitivity and computational power. But it's a bit like, imagine shattering a mirror into a billion tiny pieces. Could you piece it back together perfectly to see the exact image it reflected just before breaking?
Doesn't sound easy.
Exactly. The information is there in the angles and positions of the shards, but it's incredibly diffused, scrambled, complex beyond belief to decipher.
Okay, so probably no cosmic DVR letting us watch the dinosaurs anytime soon then. Shame. Imagine the reality shows. But moving maybe slightly more towards the speculative side,
Yeah.
but still thought-provoking. What about the idea that matters itself? Could it hold some kind of memory?
Right. Okay. So here it's really important to be clear about the scientific standing. There are ideas out there, like Rupert Sheldrake's theory of morphic resonance. This suggests that systems, like organisms or even crystals, are shaped by invisible fields that carry a kind of memory from similar systems.
Winthrop resonance.
Yeah. It's a fascinating idea, proposes a sort of non-physical memory influencing development and behavior. But, and this is crucial, it's not scientifically validated. It sits outside mainstream physics.
Good clarification.
However, bringing it back to more established physics, even as systems evolve and, entropy increases, things tend towards disorder.
Yeah.
The microscopic details, things like the precise positions and momentum of every single particle, they do still carry echoes of past interactions.
Echoes.
Yeah. That information is still technically present. It's just incredibly diffused and jumbled up. Like, imagine the faint residual heat signatures from a past event or the lingering scent molecules from a meal long after it's finished. It's a kind of memory, but one that's usually way too complex for us to access or make sense of.
Okay, so let's try and wrap this up then. It seems like, while nature doesn't have a camera, like we think of one, a literal recording device, modern science, especially quantum physics, it strongly suggests that information about pretty much every moment is preserved in these subtle, maybe usually inaccessible ways. Nothing's truly forgotten.
That's a good way to put it. The universe could indeed be this vast, invisible archive, an immense library holding the details of every single thing that has ever happened. And we're really only just beginning to scratch the surface of understanding how it all works.
So here's the final thought for you listening. What does it mean for your understanding of reality? Knowing that every interaction, every event, maybe even every fleeting thought you've ever had, might leave some kind of indelible imprint on the very fabric of the cosmos. Does that change how you think about memory? Or the past? Or maybe even the future that's still waiting to unfold? Something to chew on.